Hey everybody, welcome to another
Hello.
week of She Hates Whiskey, She Hates Whiskey.
But I love him.
For those of you who don't know, every week we kind of check in with you as we go on the journey of figuring out if she can learn to like whiskey, if not love it. That's her generous gift to me. Last week we kind of challenged Meredith and kind of pushed her beyond her comfort zone, making her drink some higher alcohol level, strong flavored whiskeys. And this week we're gonna go in the opposite direction. One of the things we haven't done a ton of is bourbon. So this week we're doing some basic bourbon. So we're gonna start off with Jim Beam, which I guess I'll just pour and talk so that you have an opportunity to nose and taste.
Great.
So first we're gonna do Jim Beam, which is a just classic, really basic, straight Kentucky bourbon whiskey.
Ooh.
So we'll give that an observation. We're going to see part of the reason is these are all 40% ABV, so the lowest kind of percent alcohol that they can be.
And they're very
And she
cute.
likes the cute little bottles.
We went to the liquor store to pick them out, and there was a ton of very tiny, very cute bottles. So
this is Nip Week, Bourbon Nip Week.
Yeah, I liked that about my new hobby.
Yeah.
Is how adorable it can be.
So then Maker's Mark, which is another classic bourbon, except it's a classic wheated bourbon, which means beyond the corn, wheat is the next most prevalent grain in the mash bill. Oh, great, okay. So we're loving these.
Makers missed the Mac. I don't like
All
it.
right. Well, and then finally we're going to do Jack Daniels, which some people may say is not a bourbon, but legally it classifies as a bourbon, but of course is something more than that, the Tennessee whiskey, which means that it is... which means that it is filtered, basically a bourbon that is then put through a maple charcoal filter, sugar maple charcoal
I think they left
filter.
some of the charcoal in there.
All right, well, we'll see.
Smells-
And I, in honor
What?
of Jack Daniels,
David's drinking.
in honor of Jack Daniels, I'm drinking a little bit of Gentleman Jack, which is kind of the step up from, cute little bottle.
It's so cute.
Step up from the Jack Daniels.
It is a step
You
up
can smell
because
that,
this
see
is
if you like that better.
glass and these are plastic.
Yeah,
So
probably.
it's classy.
You can smell that one.
That smells better.
Smells better?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we can try that if you want to. All right,
Okay.
so let's walk through, see how you feel.
Okay. Which one should I start with?
You start right to
Okay,
left.
this one actually smelled the least bad.
Okay. Now we're looking
Although
for
I'm
those.
not sure.
We're looking for those basic kind of caramelly,
Okay.
vanilla-y flavors that are very common in bourbon.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
No?
Ah.
I mean, the downside of doing
It
basic whiskey is it tends not to be as refined, so it's a little
I guess
younger,
I
a
can
little
get-
sharper.
It's last week we talked about the fire cake,
Yeah.
which we learned is a baked Alaska.
Yeah.
Thank you, Amy. This one doesn't have quite as much of the alcohol-y, burning
Yeah.
mouth pain.
Yeah, much.
It's
much,
just,
pretty much flavor though.
No flavor really, besides bad. The flavor notes I pick up are it doesn't taste good.
Okay.
That's my flavor
I mean,
note.
it's definitely not very burny to me, but I get a really like sweet
Really?
kind of caramelly note on that.
Ugh.
Well, she has to be drinking more whiskey.
Weird
I think maybe the
caramel.
problem. I mean, these these flavor components aren't necessarily like there's literally caramel in there. So what you're tasting are these elements that are brought out of the wood that are reminiscent of caramel.
Nothing.
Okay.
Nope.
All right. So
Not a bit. Let's taste the
Not very good.
waxy Maker's Miss the Mark.
classic Maker's Mark.
Classic.
They've
Maker's
they've
Mark.
actually trademarked the wax, so you can't do that
I
on your
saw that.
bottles
Well, it
with the dripping wax. Okay.
trademarked their terrible taste. God. Oh.
Gosh.
There's cinnamon in there? It's like spicy.
There's not actual cinnamon.
It's spicy.
Okay. Well, that's a flavor.
Yeah, it was unexpected. It tasted like a red hot.
It is really different. Yeah, it's kind of cinnamony.
Cinnamony, spicy.
That's good.
Look what I did!
Look at that. She's recognizing things.
I didn't like it, but I recognize it.
Is it the alcohol burn? Are these really alcohol burny?
They're not
too?
too alcohol burny. No, they just don't taste good.
It's just the flavor.
Yeah, they don't taste good.
All right.
Ooh, cinnamony. I hope there's not cinnamon in there.
You just drank that again, right? Okay.
Makes my mouth go numb.
Interesting.
Okay, what's next?
Yeah, that has like such a sweet vanilla nose on that to me.
No, it smells like, I don't know, leaves.
Leaves?
It doesn't smell good.
Tasting notes by Meredith.
Bad. A leaf. Okay. Oh. There's nothing sweet about it, and it tastes like something I don't like.
I don't get a lot from it. Here, try the Gentleman Jack.
Okay.
It's a little bit, it's like I don't even know. It is also 40%, so it's not too bad.
It doesn't smell good anymore.
It doesn't smell good anymore. Double mellowed. I don't know what that means. Let us know what double mellowed means.
Amy, do you know? They're all bad.
That's so weird.
I don't like any of them.
So having tasted these pretty basic whiskeys, over the course of this week, we didn't kind of recap how the week went. Meredith, by happenstance, because we were late in buying her whiskey that she actually likes, which is the Caskmates Stout Edition from Jameson, she actually liked kind of two random scotches that I just happened to be drinking.
Yeah.
The weirdest of, I'll go grab quickly.
He's over there. You can't see him.
Being McClellan's, which is like a budget brand single malt.
Which I kind of liked.
Isla single malt. So it's that kind of smoky, peaty thing that people are familiar with Scotch, which isn't necessarily characteristic of all Scotches, but specifically one from Isla. And this is likely kind of young barrels from Bourbon. It's kind of interesting. So
I would never drink these again.
Right, so you definitely need to play around. There are counterintuitive things. So I thought for sure that she would kind of enjoy these a little bit more because they low ABV. She loves caramel and vanilla flavors, but she's not getting any of that. And you even like cinnamon kind of, and that has cinnamonness, and you don't even like it.
No, I don't. No, I don't like any of these. Their cuteness let me down. They do not taste cute.
Okay. Well, that's something to learn.
Yeah. Hey, at least they only cost like $1. So.
But you really didn't feel like it was alcohol burn that was affecting it. It was just you didn't really like
they didn't
the
taste
flavor.
good.
They didn't taste good. They tasted actively bad, or they didn't have anything good that you enjoyed from the taste.
Actively bad.
Actively bad.
Actively
Okay.
Bad. Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, guys. At Jack Daniel's,
Maker's
Mark, and Jim Beam, your basic entry-level whiskeys are not for Meredith. No. So that's something good to learn.
Yeah.
So I hope you guys will continue to come back. We'll be back next week. Meredith will have an opportunity to drink some Irish whiskey that she really likes and maybe some other stuff.
Yeah.
And next week we'll have an exciting, fun episode for you guys that is mysterious that Meredith doesn't even know about. And of course, if you like the show, please like it, hitting that little like button. Hit the subscribe button, and most of all, if you have anyone that's trying to get into whiskey and doesn't know what they're doing, send them to us. And we'll put her through as much pain as possible so that you don't have to. You can learn all the tips and tricks. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye.